Hello and welcome to the Player2 Video Games Club. I'm your host Paul James, and this month it was my fortunate right to bring a game to both Jay and Damo for discussion. So the game I picked is a game that is quite near and dear to me. It underpinned a lot of my childhood gaming, but it's unfortunately dismissed in favour of its more popular Japanese cousin. The game I'm talking about, of course, is Secret of Evermore for the Super Nintendo. And of course, most people who are sitting here listening to this probably are all too aware of Secret of Mana and the fame and popularity that it garnered. Secret of Evermore was an American-developed, Western-developed game that uses many of the same facets that make Secret of Mana so well regarded. But I just love the game because it does a few things different to Secret of Mana. It's built on the same engine. There's so many similarities between the two, but then there's enough that it does differently that created a totally different experience, and it's just got a whole other tone that's just really endearing and charming. I've brought it to Jay and Damo. I hope they enjoy it. I hope you do too. Please sit back, watch as we discuss Secret of Evermore. Thank you again. Bye. Welcome to the Player2 Video Games Club. I'm your host Paul James, and I'm again joined by
your host Jay Parnas
and Damo Camilleri,
your host.
Phenomenal. So the Video Games Club is, as it always is, the three of us will go back having selected a game from the archives to go back and re-experience, either one that's been particularly important to one of the three of us or one that all three of us unanimously agree needs to be discussed. We go back and play it, and then we just hash it out on camera for you guys to possibly enjoy.
Just in case you haven't been watching over the past, what is it?
Close enough to a year.
Yeah, I was going to say more than
so
that. Yeah.
This month it was my choice, and I selected a game that we'd actually discussed another time during a previous... Well, when I was writing for another site. But
when we were.
When we were, I guess. We were running it ourselves. But anyway, that's another history that we don't need to discuss.
But we can. But we won't.
We're discussing Secret of Evermore, a Super Nintendo... Do we go as far as saying classic? Well, I suppose it's classic in terms of its age.
Let's call it a gem.
Yeah, alright, fine, that'll do.
Nugget in the rough.
Yeah.
It is by no means a nugget of anything else.
Regularly dismissed, rightly or wrongly, and we'll discuss that shortly, but regularly kind of dismissed in discussions of games through that era because
Except for our discussion when we were talking about the old SNES Mini.
Mini, yeah. But regularly dismissed.
Did they make the cut? I'm pretty sure they made the cut, did it?
I don't think so.
No.
But dismissed given that
so
it
I guess
was
it was
kind
dismissed.
of sitting in the back burners.
Yeah, right.
Highlighted by Secret of Mana. Secret of Evermore never quite got the same acclaim and attention.
Yeah, a bit of the old in the shadow business going on.
Yeah. Now, we're going to just kind of discuss a few of the key points of the game, things we liked, we didn't like. What were some of the strengths of Secret of Evermore? And obviously this is a 20-plus year old game now, but what were some of the
21 this year.
21 this year?
1995 it came out.
I just woke up to how old I am now.
Yeah.
Because I still have relatively rock solid memories of this.
Well,
That's
you and
21 years ago.
You and I have relatively rock solid. Like you and I played this game.
Mess around with it.
I remember randomly picking directions for you to go and helping you stumble across a very difficult to find boss.
Yes. Oh yeah, through that weird maze.
Yeah. Which just goes to show how vivid those memories are. And
yeah.
I guess that speaks to the game. Its art style's great, I would say.
And you'll be seeing like clips of the game throughout this podcast in not that spot, but certainly about
here is where they normally go. It's covering up all this glory.
So Secret of Evermore, like I said, kind of living in the shadow behind Secret of Mana, but at the same time there's a lot of similarities between the two games, certainly built on the same...
Definitely the same engine for sure.
Like combat premises very similar.
Though
the item rings and all that sort of stuff, all the same.
It's a
really novel sort of thing also, that whole item ring thing, being able to flick through it. And
yeah, it's a good way to traverse all the menus really fast. I personally think it plays better than Secret of Mana, in my opinion. Mechanically, for me, if you guys have been watching this podcast show, whatever you want to call it.
And it is also easy to do lots of comparisons with Secret of Mana here because that's a game that most people know. So if
you've been watching this for a while, you know that I'm pretty mechanics driven when it comes to things I like about games. And And for me, I feel the mechanics are better in this one. The things that eluded me when I was a kid, or eluded us maybe, I don't know, which is a system that they also had kind of, but not quite the same in Secret of Mana, which was the sort of the AI that you could program.
Yeah.
We had the little checkerboard and you can move them towards like further away, more aggressive, more defensive. So
whatever.
In this game, you and your dog are partnered along. And
The coolest dog in the world.
yeah, the coolest shape-shifting dog in the world, I think.
Yeah.
Because there's a pretty cool one in
To set the stage for that, by the way, you kind of travel through time, and as you travel through these different eras, the look of your dog changes with you.
Yeah, it's
To the
it's
point
kind
where
of
when
a world
you get to
that
the
you're
far-flung
in.
future, all of a sudden it's a robot dog.
Hi, we're
robot-
talking about
robot
Secret
toaster.
Evermore. Let's talk about how it actually all began.
Yeah. Long story short, you get a robot toaster dog in the end, and a bazooka,
cool.
and it's a fucking JRPG. It's the 90s were a weird time. The 90s were a weird time. No, so look, yeah, to give more of the premise, the example I always give is think like Saturday morning cartoons in the 90s. Like Mighty Max or something like that, you know?
Mighty Max.
Or,
It's hitting the old school.
yeah, kicking out old school, that's a good way to do it. Yeah, it's kind of like
Mighty Max.
kid and his dog stumble into a thing and then adventure happens.
Yeah.
That's
He's like a Marty McFly that loves B-grade movies.
Kind of, except
there's
younger,
so many
I
little
guess.
B-grade movie references in it, which is awesome.
Like, I don't know, that's the feel I get. It's just like, imagine that 90s kid, that 80s kid almost, I don't know. Just that kid that, you know, you see in like every like
Like the protagonist.
old movie that, you know, Sandlot kids, Stand By Me, all those. There's always, you know, that one kid that stands out that just has that sleight of left hand kind of difference between him and everybody else, and that's kind of what this main character's like. He's very obscure, but, you know, very relatable at the exact same time.
He's what a lot of kids are now, very like media orientated, right?
Yeah.
It's
I was going to say annoying, but that's maybe the teacher.
yeah. No, you know, like very influenced by movies and stuff, like a lot of kids were in the 90s. I mean, you have to think that, you know, from our generation, I guess, you had, you know, shit like RoboCop and Terminator 2 and basically every Arnie flick, actually, and, you know, like Die Hard and and like Rambo and The Rock and shit like that, where it's just like there was a lot of like action-y stuff to get a lot of kids into back then, which there's not really that much of it now. It's a lot
The best version of the X-Men.
a lot of stuff nowadays is more either like Disney Channel stuff or it's very cartoon, like, you know, Adventure Time or something like that. That's sort of where kids are getting a lot of their media from, whereas I guess back in our generation, we had Saturday morning cartoons and fucking action flicks.
And that's all the stuff that gets referenced in Secret Evermore.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Sorry,
I'll just-
leverage those interests and
turn so I'm not having to destroy my neck.
that's
Yeah. Yeah, it's real good. Like the references are nice. But again, for me, like the story was a little throwaway for me. But
that's
that's the B grade nature of it, though, I guess. For me, the mechanics are real good. And this is something that when we spoke about this game last, I touched on fairly heavily, and I still think it's really poignant now. Like, a year later, but still like 21 years on. Is that it's the only RPG I can think of where your party only ever consists of two. It's not a matter of you don't gain people and swap people out or anything. It is a boy and his dog. That's it.
yeah.
And a bitch you can summon.
Well, not even that. That's like alchemy powers that you're getting that you've been given by someone.
Like Fire Eyes is
Yeah. That's
Call beads.
they're all you're Final Fantasy.
That's someone at the and even then that's kind of pushing it, because really it's just, hey, here's a recipe I got from that chick, and you know, that's it, really. It's like, hey, I'm like, what's the term? I'm channeling that chick, if anything.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, and back then the only RPG I could actually think of, and this is really pushing it, was Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. That's the only other RPG I can think of where your party only ever consists of 2.
Yeah. There's not, yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's probably others, but they're not springing to mind.
I know, I did a real hard think about it, and because that's the thing, usually you find party, that's part of the story drive in a lot of those games, is you gaining party members. And even if, you know, like in Chrono Trigger, you end up leaving all of them at the end of time, except for Frog, because Frog is the best.
For an equally old game.
No, that's not that far in. End of time.
No.
That's like a couple hours in.
Yeah.
Come on, son. The statute is up on that shit.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, like as soon as you get Frog though, Frog and Robo, that's it. Ayla maybe, that's it. Everyone else goes to the end of time.
Yeah, they just hang there.
Yeah, that's it. But that's it. Like for this game, it was very much a really cool sort of, almost like a buddy cop type thing, where it's like the kid and the dog like is the straight man in that one, where it's just like the kid says some real dumb shit and the dog's just like, I'm a dog, whatever, man. Like you do you. But the cool part mechanically for me is that instead of it being offensive and defensive on the dog, it's actually offensive or searching, so you can have the dog kind of avoid combat and go and look for items. You can just
deal with it if you back yourself in your ability. Then
that's right.
Back yourself in, do it, and the dog can go and scrounge out resources.
And that's the cool part about this game. It does not use an MP system. It uses because it's an alchemy game, which is cool to start with. You're not actually consuming your magic powers or whatever. You're consuming like clay or glass
nectar
or
and all those things,
like shit like that. It's really cool to be able to be like, in like your average RPG, it's like, I'm out of magic powers. I got to go rest at an inn or consume one of the 4 elixirs in this whole game. You know what I mean? And then
bigger elixirs.
Yeah, right. But in this game, it's like, oh no, I'm out of stuff.
Let me scrounge up the resources.
Oh look, it's here.
A new one.
It's here on the ground. Cool. You can't like scramble and find yourself MP points in the bushes.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool. Like this game has got a lot of strengths to the RPG format, I guess. In that you power up things that you like to use by using them.
Yeah.
So your alchemy spells, your weapons,
everything, just levels up
the dog, it bases it like, and so for me.
So if you set your dog to full search, well, it's not going to level up. It's just going to.
But that's the thing. You can, at any time you can hit the select button and play as the dog, and then you can have your dude just like defending for you. It's real cool. Mechanics wise, the RPG system. That's why for me it's a little bit better than Secret of Mana in ways. I don't know. What did you think, Damo?
Yeah.
In terms of strengths and weaknesses, like.
Was that what that was all about?
Yeah, man.
That was just started and finished on that. That was better than you like that more than Secret of Mana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you why.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, for me, look.
I'll give you my good strengths and weaknesses in 30 seconds, and then we can just supercut this shit for you right now. I liked the color scheme. It was cool. Storyline was very fantastic. The characters are very relatable. The alchemy system is very different. The menu system was okay, not my favorite.
Efficient.
The healing system works. The redundancy is bad, but that was only because they went from 16 to 32-bit cartridge and they didn't know what to do with the extra space, so nothing could be really done about that. They didn't know what to do, fill all their extra space with, so they added new spells. But by the time you got to them, you had already powered up the things that you wanted to power up. So there you go. There's all my strengths and weaknesses.
That was a lot to take in.
You got somewhere to be or something? Like
what?
You could have.
There you go.
End of the podcast. See you later, guys.
As far as healing goes, though, so for me, when I had my playthrough, by the time I actually got the healing alchemy, because up to that point you're getting like petals or nectar or whatever.
Yeah, petals.
Whatever the shit.
Shit tons, 40 health.
It's fine. You've got like a health of 50 anyway, so who cares?
Gets you by for a fair while.
Yeah. When you finally get the heal spell, you end up with a lot of the resources to use that. So for me personally, I was actually able to use it a whole bunch, play really cavalier, and level it up really quickly. So by the time that like I was deep in shit, I would actually be able to get a full heal for both me and my dog by splitting it.
Yeah.
Because you can actually split all of the alchemy powers in the game across any number of targets it possibly could.
Yeah, you can decide you want to.
I think it's a max of
one or three.
Or all. I think it's a max of 4.
I don't think there's ever
three or
anything
four?
really more than 4 on
You're
this.
typically not taking.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's usually only about that many anyway. But that's the thing. Like, yes, you would divide your results, but again, if it's something you use very regularly, then you would be leveling it up and it would be able to deal more damage. So even those earlier alchemy spells, while yes, they are kind of outdone by later ones.
No, that's what I'm saying. The ones you get at the beginning outdo the ones that you get later on because you've leveled them up, and there's no point getting something weaker
starting from scratch and building
later.
Well, I mean,
on in the game.
that's what a lot of RPGs expect. They're like, oh, here, have a cool sword. Here, have a cooler sword, but you got to level it up again. Here, have a god sword, but it's shittier than your basic sword because you haven't used it yet. Like, that's an RPG trope, though. So eventually, in the end, they do end up being better if you use them regularly. But that's the cool part. You get to level what you want to level. Like, it doesn't feel like grinding because you're just using the things you want to use to get by. Because it's got the active or action RPG.
Feel free to chime in there anytime, buddy. Or just have fun reading your book.
Reliving some memories.
Nostalgic tear out the side. Yeah, for me, it's just really cool to be able to have an RPG where it's like, I don't have to get too stats focused. If I want to level up my meleeing skills, I can do that. I punch people.
And you live
lots.
leveling up to level 9, I think was the cap for
I
anything.
think so.
Spells and your...
Yeah.
But that, like, the more you level
so
it,
then you can, as you've powered up your melee or whatever, you
can charge it up.
Charge it up, hold it through, which is something you didn't realise you could do.
Or play as
As
the
a
dog, I
secret
think
mana.
you didn't.
No, I knew you play as the dog.
Charge it up,
Last time
and then
was a
you've
thing.
got a far more powerful attack that just...
And some of them give you a lot of range. So we were talking about the spear earlier on. I remember the last time you played that one, there was a particular boss you got up to and you were just like, this is taking forever, I hate life.
It was the exact same this time.
Yeah.
Stupid snake shit boss. I used all my coal beads. It was whatever.
But that's the thing, like, if you have the spear, which you get before then, if you've leveled it up to, I think it's like level 2 when you can charge it, you can throw it from like a mile away and it does shit tons of damage. It's great. Like, being able to have that in like an action RPG like this one is real useful. It's good. I just like that a lot. I mean, obviously, look, there are flaws in it.
Yeah,
like
so we'll get to one flaw that really irks you.
Oh. And they do it twice.
Yeah, there was 2 relatively lengthy trading sequences where you kind of, I need to get this item from this person, that then shift onto...
It's more like an economy type thing where it's like...
here, there and everywhere trying to...
I'll trade you some of my money for your bags of rice. And then the person over there will give me...
where do I get the bags of rice from? So
it's
I'm
like...
going to track down that person. They say, I need this.
Yeah.
And it became... Yeah, there was...
You have to find the person that will take your actual currency and then be like, cool, I'll take your currency and give you bread. And then for bread, you can trade it for bags of flour. And then for bags of flour, you can trade it for sheep or something. I don't know, like, I'm obviously not getting...
No,
none of those are actually in-game.
But it was...
It's literally that.
It's
that beads into bags of rice into, like...
It's the guy that started with a paperclip and then managed to
get a house.
A house and stuff. Good on him. Points for effort. But it's the same sort of premise here. Maybe he was inspired by this. And yeah, look, that can be understandably frustrating. My recollection was it did take a fair while, but
it's not something you necessarily...
Kid, I didn't care too much. It's not all the time in the world.
But it's not necessarily something you have to do for very long. But if you do, you actually get like god armor and god swords, and it's like, well, you've gated really cool equipment that's really useful for the end of the game behind this bullshit. I hate you.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's the same with a lot of different RPGs. Like, some of the cooler stuff, you have to jump through hoops to try and get it.
That doesn't make it cool.
Because it's not necessary to complete the game.
I would honestly rather grind for, like, drop rates in Castlevania Symphony of the Night or something like that than, or like, you know, Diablo or Borderlands or something like that.
That sort of thing is in that extended grind, whatever it happens to be, is typical of a Japanese RPG. Like Damo, I think one that you and I know well, being like Final Fantasy X.
Is there a trading sequence in that?
No trading, but the same sort of deal where these kind of god tier weapons, but your ultimate weapons are gated behind secret bosses and those sorts of things that you have to jump through a bunch of hoops just to find them. Then you got to try and beat them. And then
after you get the weapons, you've got to upgrade them. You've got to do
there's
more
more
ridiculous.
Pieces,
like what? Like I would be curious to know.
What was it? The first to get the main dude, Titus's main weapon.
You might get the weapon, but it's still missing a component that makes it effective. So then you go on another buddy hike.
I think you had to capture. To get Titus's main weapon, you had to capture a bunch of fucking monsters, which was a task and a half in itself.
So what you're saying is to get the Master Ball, I have to capture a lot of Pikachu.
And then you got the sword.
Go.
But then you had to go out and beat like true fucking bosses that were just like god near impossible, like beyond end game bosses to get like the two things to upgrade it to actually do damage, because otherwise it had zero attack, zero defense.
It really had no.
It had zero stats of everything.
Post-game things, even though you technically weren't post-game yet. And it's the same sort of idea with this. You don't need those god tier weapons or whatever we're dumping.
You got it towards the end of the game.
No,
it's useful.
Oh yeah, they're useful, but so are these god tier ones in Final Fantasy X or any other game like it. But,
I guess.
But you can still get by on the stock stand. Like it's designed to work with that next tier.
I'm pretty sure it's also
but then you're just a wrecking ball if you've got.
I think it's also time gated, where you can only do it at a particular point in the game, which is a pain in the ass too. That's another kind of thing that's bullshit. Like there's a couple of alchemy spells that you can only get at a certain point. There's like points of no return for those, which is unfortunate. But that's the other thing. Like a lot of the alchemy spells are actually secret, hidden things, which is kind of cool. Like you've got that, you know, hey, find some secrets, get some cool things, which is nice. But yeah, fucking that trading fucking sequence. Oh,
sequences.
Yeah, thanks. Oh. If my dog,
for me, I don't hold the same sort of grudges or things about it. Probably just because I was a kid and I don't care. I've got all the time in the world. It's school holidays right now, and so I just smashed through it.
Time forever, yeah.
Where now that would be something that would grate it. Can it just be done? I need to move on for whatever reason.
Pretty much that, and that was why I was.
But that's probably why you don't see that same sort of stuff these days. More and more people are time poor.
Yeah, and more people will not give you that time of day because it's not the only game that they can be playing. Yeah. Whereas back then, it's like got to save up your money, and yeah,
large portion of that is my still to play pile.
Yeah, pile of shame.
Growing.
But look, I don't think that this game should be in the shadows at all. I think I think this is a really, really decent game.
Yeah, I think it probably just got dismissed by a lot of people because of Secret of Mana, wrongly.
Well,
as a result, it just doesn't. It just doesn't spring to mind.
It's branding though. It's got this secret of branding. Yeah. So they're probably just trying to cash in on how popular that game was, because that game destroyed it back in the day.
Oh yeah, it was huge, and yet then it's Secret of Mana's sequel afterwards never actually left Japan, which was weird. But
yeah, I think the next one that hit us was Sword of Mana on the Game Boy Advance.
No, there was Legend of Mana for the PS1.
Oh, okay.
No, actually did that? I think they made it to America, but never came across to Europe/Australia.
Right.
PAL regions.
Chrono Cross.
Chrono Cross was another one of those.
Yeah.
Which got a 10 from GameSpot and never made it to Europe. Back when it was really tough to get a 10.
Yeah, I think they've only ever given out 9.
Yeah, something like that.
9 of them. Yeah.
Chrono Cross is one of them.
Bayonetta
and I think they regret it, but from what I can gather. But
yeah, I think that one is where they leased that out to
welcome
some
to your
freelance.
GameSpot cast.
Yeah.
But
the sound in this game though was
the sound design was great.
That was something I know that you loved.
Yeah.
I know you're a big fan of the ambient sound.
It was good. I didn't actually listen to it much this time playing through. I was listening to a podcast that I've become a fan of.
Our own.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was totally on all the Player2
working out what he missed when he was away. And
having the taste of the next generation in my ears.
Yeah. I don't know what that was, but were there any other kind of... What would you like to see taken from... I mean, it probably kind of already happened, I guess. We've had 20 years of history here, but... or since 21 years.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you'd like to see taken from the game that perhaps hasn't, brought across to...
As in something I would like to see in games now?
Yeah, or
Alchemy?
were there things that you're already seeing that's there that also you can see...
Yeah,
that have influenced things to...
Alchemy for sure. I think it would be also really cool if they gave it that kind of... Sort of like in... I don't know, this is not one you've played, but Dead Rising 2, and even 3... There are a lot of circumstances where you can just take two components, take them to your... Until it would be your workbench, and it's just slap them together and see... Or, like, if they're component parts, they give you indicators that, hey, this thing can be put with two things, and you can do that trial and error of, hey, can this plank of wood be put together with, I don't know, my boxing gloves or something like that.
Yeah.
So something like that where it's like, okay, well, I've got this oil and I've got this water. Can I magic this into, I don't know, a firebomb or something, like something like that where it may not be as effective until you get the spell, but you can still use it and potentially power up its effects, and then you get, given the spell and you make it more efficiently, it uses less parts, something like that.
Yeah.
You can game design it up into something that is a more fleshed out thing. But yeah, Alchemy, really fucking cool. I also think the whole two-person party system is really good. I think that...
You certainly don't see, like you said before, you don't see any of that these days.
And it's the
You're either running solo or your
group is just clustered together.
Huge group.
I actually think even they could do the Gears of War thing, which is where you'll get to a split up point, and you could then, okay, well, only my dog can fit through here and go on.
You
and
assume
then
control the dog and do it.
Yeah, and then because they actually do a portion of that in the game where you're actually it's like meanwhile this is happening where you play as your dog for a little bit and then you play as the boy, stuff like that. That would be really cool. Shape-shifting partners is cool. There are a lot of cool little unique things in this. Especially I loved being able to charge an attack and being able to move at full speed, unlike in Secret of Mana where it's like I'm charging an attack and I'm like
shift just slowly.
Mate. Whew. Whereas in Secret of Evermore you run at full speed. It's great. There's plenty of RPG stuff that you could take from this game and make really cool. The whole, I would actually argue that there are games that have taken, again, not directly from this game, but you could definitely see inspiration from.
Yeah.
Where it's the whole use this thing, it gets powerful. Saints Row even has that, where it's like, hey, do stuff and we'll give you experience for it. Forza is another one like that, Forza Horizon, where it's like, hey, drift around a corner, you get experience points. Hey, drive fast, you get experience points. Literally, like whatever you do, you get experience points for it. I think that's really powerful. Giving the player their experience points for playing the way they want to play. And again, even if you funnel it into the ways that they play, so like, hey, my melee is now stronger because I only beat people to death with a fucking femur that I found on the ground. Yeah. That's cool. I don't have to use magic if I don't want to. Like the sort of people who play...
And he's only by the way, your first weapon is a bone.
That's a real game reference. Or even people who play Dark Souls and they're like, I'm going to use magic only in this run or something like that, or something like those, on those lines. I think for sure is something that they could take from this game. I don't necessarily think they could make Secret of Evermore 2, but they could totally make a spiritual successor too.
Yeah.
What do you reckon,
even in the same way that we saw I Am Setsuna come out this year for PS4, which is a Square Enix game, and it was inspired by their work with Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
They were very upfront that it was in reference to Chrono Trigger and many others of the same ilk at the time, and they just kind of almost ripped off their own work in some ways. Yeah. But in doing so, probably created a whole new IP that they'll persist with.
And again, people who may not have...
Chrono Trigger.
Yeah. Well,
Beyond Cross, which they didn't release half the world.
That's the thing. I mean, it also brings that type of game to another age group. Another generation of gamers who may not have seen nor heard of. Yeah, aware of Secret of Mana. Hang on, what the hell is this? To use Secret of Evermore. Yeah. What do you reckon, Damo? What do you think could be pulled out of this game and put into a
Or
modern.
already has been pulled.
Or,
out, you can
yeah,
see
already
it
has.
originate.
Oh well, alchemy was pulled into Final Fantasy VIII.
Was it the primary form of magic? I don't.
No, you could like combine two items together to make things. Like,
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool.
And you go like, I mean, that's yeah. What else? I don't know. Like, I guess.
Even down to the storytelling, like that cool approach to it. And look, obviously it wasn't the first game that's kind of had that sort of attitude. It was probably one of a few from that era. I mean, even think of like the Zombies Ate My Neighbours sort of thing.
Oh man,
No,
man, what a game!
Like that still had the same sort of I'm a smart ass kid sort of attitude.
Yeah, you know that sort of
I'm very
kid from an advertisement type thing. It's like
Yeah.
whoa, yeah, that sort of shit. Yeah, I get you. But
I'd love to see that sort of thing come back, like that sort of attitude.
kind of,
as,
yeah,
as in that
totally,
cowabunga sort
yeah,
of like
for sure.
As long as they didn't do it excessively, then I can see a bit of fun in that.
Bro.
Yeah, man. Why not? 80s and
See, you're already
90s.
practicing. Like, yeah, man. There you go. Done.
Fuck you. That's my vernacular. You can eat a dick. But look, with that sort of stuff as well, the storytelling in this game was also very much just the kid having his adventure, though. Like, it was very much like his story. Like, because there's portions where it's like people being like, oh, I want this thing I want you to help me with this thing, and your kid's just like, nah, I just kind of want to find my dog because my dog's lost at the moment.
Yeah.
Which I think is really,
And my dog is cool.
yeah, well, I mean that's really cool because yes, your dog is cool and like becomes a robot toaster towards the end of the game, which I will shoehorn.
Which is even cooler than what he makes it sound.
Yeah, it's like jetpack feet and shit. Like it's pretty cool.
What'd you name your dog?
You get to name it. You get to pick it.
Yeah, I know. What did you name your dog?
Oh, Vorg.
Vorg.
Yeah.
You?
Couldn't possibly,
Russian for wolf.
couldn't possibly recall. I'd imagine I would have named it after one of my dogs that I had at the time.
Yeah.
Named mine Kanye. Kanye's a badass.
Why didn't you call it Snoop? Snoop dog.
Because that's fucking dumb. And Kanye, like, you know, if Kanye's getting beaten up, it was very funny for me to watch. It's like, oh no, Kanye's getting beaten up to the west. Oh. And then, like, I think I named my guy, like, Harashiyama.
Hiroshima.
Harashiyama.
Fuji.
Yeah, Harashiyama. Oh, Harashiyama-sa. That's it, Harashiyama-sa.
So, going forward,
Dead air.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Firstly, would love to see this game pop up on like virtual consoles or those sorts of.
Yeah.
So they give people more reasons and ways to access it. Because as we said, Secret of Mana kind of is out there enough. It was available
name's
on Wii
known.
virtual consoles, and yeah, they can leverage the franchise a bit. This doesn't have that same ability to do so. So it'd be great to see that pop up anywhere, everywhere.
For sure.
Square Enix has kind of put a little bit of time and effort in the last few years into bringing some of their games back. Be it simple things like Final Fantasy VII, but I mean that's admittedly massive. But just a range of others, getting them up on eShops and all those.
Yeah,
things,
I mean, it certainly couldn't hurt Square to, you know, get some of their back catalogue out there. It's a lot of those sort of Japanese companies that have had video games since like the golden age of console gaming. There's a lot of back catalogue that could be drawn from. I mean, I know Konami loves their health spas and pachinko, but they've got some cool shit in their coffers somewhere. Same with Capcom, and you know, Square and or Enix have cool shit there too. So, you know, I don't know why they don't just say, hey, cool, all this stuff that we released for the Super Nintendo NES, it's out there. Even if they don't necessarily port it just to Nintendo platforms, even if they're just like, cool, we own the rights to this, we'll scrap your Nintendo logo from, we'll do what we like with it. I don't know why they're so strict with that stuff. It's very confusing.
Yeah, I'm not too sure either, but any partnerships they might have made back in the day won't be valid anymore, so they can do what they want with them.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess that's probably it, really.
Yeah, look, great game. I mean, it's definitely worth a play. I mean, look, I'm probably speaking of it a little higher than I potentially think of it, but that's mostly because it's one of those sorts of games where the mechanics really drive it for me.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, again, if you didn't have those trading sequences, I would very much sort of probably blow through the whole game, but they sort of weight it down enough. Because, so for me, one of the main reasons I didn't sort of finish Secret of Mana, for example, is that I constantly just felt like I was getting just ass blasted with magic that you just can't stop. Like, if someone shoots a magic, like a boss or something, is firing magic attacks at you, like, you freeze and it just comes through and hits you, because it's like, you can lock onto us, we can lock onto you. Whereas I felt that was significantly less in this game. Yeah. It was mostly about, like, physical hits, where it's like, you know, an enemy with tentacles will, like, bust through the floor and try and swing at you, like, you know, the octopus boss or whatever, or the snake, you know, trying to shoot fire at you that you can dodge in real time, right? That sort of stuff. It's way better for an action RPG than, oh, okay, I can walk around this entire environment and it means nothing because you can just fucking lock onto me and ass blast me with your fireball and I'm dead.
Yeah.
But that was mainly also because I played that game like shit, where I'd just be like, here, hold my healing items and fuck off, I'll use this sweet chakram to kill people.
So you'd recommend it, Damo?
Yeah, go on, play it. If you don't want to spend, you know, the arm and the leg that arsehole collectors would charge you for it, ROM it. Go for it.
Yeah.
I'm sure Nintendo would prefer you to do that over than you giving some other bastard your money.
Yeah, look, there aren't many ways to actually access the game. Either you own a copy of the Super Nintendo version like I've got here, or you're doing you're doing something shifty to get it.
It is what it is, but I mean, that's like the only way to access it now.
Yeah, I mean, and look, that's the way some things are going these days. It's hard to access some games like this, and they're not making them available digitally for you. So
and they're gems, so it's
hands are tied. We don't encourage piracy where we can, but sometimes it's all you've got. So just don't tell anyone. So I guess that is the end of the Video Games Club for November. Secret Evermore, please go take a look. It is one personally that lots of nostalgia for me. I spent
same with me
a lot of time playing it back in the day. But it seems like these guys have appreciated it.
Well, you and I obviously got the childhood memories there. So
yeah. So for anything else that we've kind of done this month, be it episodes of Patched that we've been sitting on this couch for, or the coverage from PAX, make sure to just like, share, subscribe on the channel, go back and take a bit of a look. Visit the site, player2.net.au, player2au on Twitter, Paul James P2 Twitter, Taco's Talks on Twitter, and Enkerman XS on Twitter.
You're a shitstorm. Don't bother.
You thought I'd skip you then.
Don't bother. You won't get any response from me.
No, but the rest of us do chat, and we're prepared to. So feel free to reach out. But until next week, where we come back to you with another episode of Patch, thank you again for watching. That was Secret Evermore, and we'll see you later.